And now it's time for our weekly market update with Catherine Murray, host of The Buck Stops Here. Take it away, Catherine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your weekly market recap. I am Catherine Murray. Well, we are seeing markets trend a little bit lower today, but certainly the path of least resistance has been up and to the right. The S&P 500, just starting with the U.S. markets first, looks to be up by about 17 weeks in a row out of 20. So some very, very strong performance. Why is this happening? Well, it seems as though investors are believing that we will in fact see, or are seeing, a soft landing in the economy, and that the U.S. Federal Reserve will eventually cut rates. Despite the fact that we did get hotter than expected inflation readings this week, did not scare investors. In fact, that same day, the markets moved up. We're also, of course, seeing such enthusiasm surrounding tech and also healthcare. Healthcare has actually kind of been left to the sidelines for a couple of years, but there's a renewed momentum in healthcare, really driven by the diabetic drugs, the weight loss drugs, Ozempic, of course, and all the other healthcare companies that are coming out with their own versions of this. So that's been a real focus in the market, as well, of course, AI. So you're seeing some real strength in tech, and of course, the poster child there is Nvidia. So those are the two leaders in the markets right now. We are, however, seeing some disappointment within the REITs. That's not new news. The REITs look to be down by about 3% this week. Energy this week looks to be up by about 3.5%. and is on track for about 8% performance in 2024 year to date. So some real strength in energy, and also some nice movement higher in financials as well. But of course, the market has been led by tech and healthcare. Away from that, of course, other items that we're watching, the Canadian dollar is flat versus the US dollar. We are seeing WTI on track for weekly gains, gold relatively unchanged. And importantly as well, we did see Bitcoin hit a new all-time high earlier this week. It has since pulled back, but nonetheless, there's renewed momentum in the cryptocurrencies. Looking ahead, we've got the FOMC meeting next week, so stay tuned for that. And also, NVIDIA has their AI developer conference. Switching gears and over to the TSX, it did trade a little bit lower on Thursday, but we are on track for weekly gains. We have seen some significant gains in commodities as well as materials. So again, energy and materials higher, utilities and telecom seeing some weakness in the markets. Away from that, interestingly here, the Financial Post did indicate that the BOC is likely to cut rates, but pushing it forward more towards that July time period when they do. So again, you're seeing both in Canada as well as the United States, expectations are being pushed out for any type of rate cuts. We also, of course, know that the federal budget will be delivered on April the 16th. Economists are suggesting that the deficit could be greater than $40 billion. In fact, Desjardins is out with a $47 billion estimate. Importantly here as well, the amount of interest that we are paying on federal debt is about $47 billion. The interest payments on the debt, that is almost equivalent to what the government takes in GST. So your taxes are going directly to paying interest on government debt. So something to keep in mind. In fact, as opposed to that going to schools and healthcare, etc. We're just covering the interest payments. Away from that, on an economic perspective, we did get housing starts in Canada up by about 14%, greater than expected. And also, as we look to next week, we're going to continue to see earnings roll out. Alimentation Couche-Tard will be reporting, and we'll also get a read on inflation. Expectations are for inflation to come in greater than 3%. So again, we'll see what that might mean for the BOC, the Bank of Canada, and if and when they will be cutting rates. I'll leave it there. Back to you.
And that was Catherine Murray, host of The Buck Stops Here.